Hey guys, Dennis here with HistoriCorps. Just thought I'd point out some quick tips for mostly our field staff, but anyone that works with us really. So right here we have some glazing knives that we use in the field all the time for glazing windows. And as you can see, some of them are in disrepair. This is kind of what we're aiming for. Again, not perfection, but a clean tool, something that you can easily glaze with. When I have all of this material, old glazing and maybe something else on here, it makes it very difficult to make a nice bedding for your, or a bead rather, for when you're spreading the glazing. So what I recommend doing, and all of our window kits have rubbing alcohol, which works pretty well. Turpentine works great. It's a little bit, it off-gases more, so it's kind of foul that way, but it does a good job. This tool in particular, I don't know if you can see that, but I mean, it is absolutely covered in glazing. This one might be a candidate to let soak overnight because you're going to spend a lot of time cleaning this one up. When you have really old debris on there, I'll probably just take another tool and scrape it off. Save myself some time and then come back with my rag. You can already see it's making a little bit of an improvement there. So it's just a combination of the two. The old stuff is basically calcified, so it's a little bit more tenacious to remove. Yeah, look at that. That's pretty old stuff. But anyway, that's kind of what we do. And if you do this every day at the end of the workday, just a couple of minutes, it'll be a lot easier to clean than what we're left with here. On to the second tip, and this is real quick. A lot of our field staff use these. This is the coupler lock for our trailers. It's a little bit different size than the ones you see on the trailer door. But either way, if you just put a little WD-40 in there, you do that about 2 or 3 times a season, your key won't get stuck and the lock will operate as it should. So just another little technique for lubricating, which you'll find really helpful, because if you get your key in there and it won't turn and then you break your key, then you've got bigger problems. So easy fix. Then, one of our staff members asked me a question recently and said that the chainsaw wasn't spitting oil. So what happens here, this is the bar that I've removed from the power head. Oil goes through these little holes here and here, and that one's clean, free of debris. The idea is that it's going to send oil, bar oil, down this groove, and it'll come down to this sprocket here, which moves and facilitates the movement of oil around your chain. Okay? So if these are plugged up, depending on which orientation you have, like this one, it'll be a lot harder for the oil to go through. So what I recommend doing is either cleaning it with whatever means you have. My personal preference is to use an air compressor with a blower attachment, and we have these in the field as well. And this is going to send some debris flying. When you hear that sound and you see that sprocket move, you know you've reached your goal. So now I'm pretty much clear. And there you go. The other tip to think about too is when you do this, there's other maintenance that's involved. And we could take a file and clean up the bar where the spurs have been kind of forming here on the end. And that's just a compression issue with the chain over time. The thing to remember here too is if oil is not going through and around your bar, your chain is going to overheat. It's going to get really dry at first, and it's going to get hot, and it's going to burn up. It's going to wear down all the components of your tool. Eventually, it's going to overwork the power head on your chainsaw. And now you're going basically from a $50 problem to an $850 problem real quick. So it's important to maintain your equipment.
What happens if we don't maintain our equipment, Dennis?
Well, they can break. That's a good question. And when they break, we have to replace them. And when we have to replace them, well, then we have to beg. And we don't want to beg. Please, don't make us beg. I'm Dennis. We'll see you later.